natural surroundings here really define how we live our lives, how we relate to each other.
There's energy, there's a pulse, you know? It's almost like being in a big city or the stock market, you know? You're wheeling, you're dealing, things are moving.
These wild Alaskan salmon, or maybe they're wild Canadian salmon, you know? And they're feeding the world.
Southeast Alaska's fishery is over $1 billion. Tourism is over $1 billion in industry.
I can't think of much money that I've made in my life that wasn't because of fish.
4 words, man. Humpies pay the bills.
Huge, huge, huge. I mean, it doesn't get any bigger. This is it. It's like the farmer depends on rain for his crops. You know, we depend on our environment for these fisheries that we're all involved in.
Yes, that's British Columbia, and yes, this is Alaska, but as far as the fish and the nature and the essence of the river, there's no line there.
The bulk of these fish are coming back to these 3 big transboundary rivers, the Takus, Takin, and the Unik. And if you see impacts to the fish in there, those impacts are going to cascade across Southeast Alaska through the different economic sectors. No matter where you fish in Southeast Alaska, you're probably at risk from some of the effects of these mines.
All this proposed mines are taking place across the border in Canada, so we're not going to see any kind of economic benefit. The only thing we're going to see in this region is the environmental risks.
I mean, when I became aware of the scale the mines proposed,
the tailings dams up there are going to have to contain several billion tons of acid-generating rock. That stuff has to be kept out of the waters forever. Forever is a hell of a long time.
I haven't seen data that convinces me that we have that capability in those kind of rugged places. And I'm not even entirely convinced that that's their highest goal.
There has been a lot of deregulation for environmental protection in Canada and in BC, with the very transparent agenda of pushing through as many new mines through as possible.
You know, when our people asked about the tailings and whether they were safe, and the answer was always the same. It's the exact same structure as Mount Polley. And it's safe, it's perfectly safe. It's perfectly safe.
The area is really, really lush. Lots of clean water and lots of cedar trees, and it's this really special place. And this happened right before the salmon were coming.
Maybe the worst environmental disaster in British Columbia's history. 10 million cubic meters of wastewater containing dangerous chemicals poured into local waterways when the earthen dam surrounding a tailings pond collapsed.
The technologies, the experts, everybody was on deck when they built Mount Polley Mine as the shining example of new mining in British Columbia. And it failed in less than 20 years. This disaster, what happened out in Quesnel Lake, that's our children's inheritance. This is what we're leaving them.
Is there any sense of how much cost it would be to put the dam back, and what kind of insurance coverage do you have?
Seeing is believing, yep. But try it on a scale 7 times bigger.
Tribes, commercial and sport fishermen, subsistence fishermen, a lot of the local governments. Right now you've got almost all sectors of Southeast in agreement that these BC mines are a threat to our interest over here. There's not enough controls on them, and we want more engagement from the state of Alaska and the U.S. feds.
What would you say to Secretary Kerry?
I would say that, you know, he has a responsibility to protect probably the last pristine piece of the United States and do it with everything he has.